Her distance isn't a sign she feels nothing. It's a sign she feels too much. You have to understand this fundamental truth before you can understand her at all. You feel it in the air between you, that sudden shift from warm, open connection to a cold, quiet void. One day, her laughter fills the space, her eyes lock with yours, and you feel seen. The next, her texts are short, her gaze is distant, and her silence hits you like a wall of cold air. Your mind races, trying to pinpoint the moment you went wrong, the word you shouldn't have said. But you're searching in the wrong place. You're looking for a logical reason for an emotional storm. Her withdrawal isn't a calculated move against you. It's a desperate, instinctual retreat from the intensity of her own feelings. She is not running from you. She is running from the overwhelming vulnerability you make her feel. You know this feeling, don't you? The agonizing confusion of trying to read a map where the landmarks keep changing. Her behavior becomes a riddle you feel compelled to solve, and your need for an answer, for that certainty you once felt, begins to consume you. It's a painful, disorienting experience that can make a man question his own sanity. If this sensation of being lost in her emotional signals resonates with you, if this paradox is starting to make sense, subscribe to the channel, like the video, and share your thoughts below. You're not the first man to stand on the shore watching a storm you don't understand. And the key is not to sail into it, but to become the lighthouse. Her chaos is not a reflection of your failure, but a testament to the power of your presence and the effect you have on her. The common mistake is to see her withdrawal as a void, an absence of feeling. You perceive her silence and you interpret it as emptiness. But it is not empty at all. It is full. It is full of fear, full of doubt, and most of all, full of an attraction so potent it terrifies her. Her silence is a shield. When she looks away, it's because looking at you feels like looking directly into the sun, too bright, too revealing. This quietness is her attempt to regain control over a heart that is beating too fast, to calm an internal world that your presence has thrown into beautiful, frightening disarray. For you, the man on the outside, it feels like rejection. For her, the woman on the inside, it feels like self-preservation. She is not pushing you away. She is holding herself together. Think of the last time she seemed to pick a fight over something completely insignificant. You thought it was about the dishes or a forgotten phone call, but it wasn't. That friction, that sudden burst of irrational anger or frustration, was her discharging the electrical tension she feels when she's near you. It's easier for her to create a small, manageable conflict she can control than it is to face the vast, uncontrollable emotion you inspire in her. She creates a small fire to distract from the inferno. This behavior is a signpost, a clue you've been misreading. She isn't trying to create distance because she wants you gone. She's creating a survivable distance because having you too close feels like it could burn her alive. She is fighting herself, and you are simply the battleground. And so, you stand at the edge of this quiet battlefield, and the first lie whispers in your ear, the lie you've been taught your entire life. You see her distance, her one-word replies, the way her eyes don't quite meet yours, and you translate it through a filter of ego. The lie says she has lost interest, I am no longer wanted. This single flawed interpretation becomes the engine of your own undoing. It personalizes her storm, making you the sole victim of her reign. You believe her silence is a verdict delivered upon your worth, a final judgment that you have failed some unspoken test. This is the great illusion that turns a man of potential strength into a boy desperate for reassurance. Her retreat from her own chaotic feelings becomes, in your mind, a direct and calculated rejection of you. This is where you begin to lose the war before the first real battle has even begun. This lie then fuels a predictable and disastrous impulse, the chase. You feel the ground shifting beneath your feet, so you lunge forward to grab onto something solid. Your texts become more frequent, laced with a subtle anxiety she can feel through the screen. Is everything okay? You ask, believing you are showing concern, but what she hears is the vibration of your neediness. You try to fill her silence with your words. to close the distance with grand gestures, to reignite a fire that was never extinguished, only contained. You are trying to solve an emotional problem with logistical action. Every step you take toward her in this state of panic only validates her fear. She sees you coming, not as a source of stability, but as another wave of emotion threatening to pull her under. You are not demonstrating your value, you are demonstrating your fear of losing her. When the chase doesn't work, the panic escalates into a demand for logic. You corner her, not physically, but emotionally. Just talk to me. You plead, or worse, tell me what I did wrong. You try to force her complex, non-linear feelings into a simple cause and effect narrative that your mind can process. You are asking a storm to explain itself in a calm, rational sentence. This pressure to articulate something she herself doesn't fully understand feels like an interrogation. It makes her feel broken, misunderstood, and profoundly alone. She cannot give you the logical map you crave because she is lost in the territory. Your need for an answer becomes more important than your ability to provide a safe space for her confusion. You think you are seeking clarity, but you are actually demanding control over an emotional world that is not yours to command. Then comes the other side of the coin, the equal and opposite error born from a wounded ego. When chasing and demanding fail, you retreat. But this is not a retreat into centered strength. It is a retreat into resentful silence. Fine. You think two can play at that game. You mirror her distance, not as a strategy of presence, but as a punishment. Your silence is not calm. It is cold. It is a transactional move designed to make her feel the same anxiety she supposedly inflicted upon you. You believe you are taking your power back, but you are merely engaging in her chaos from a different direction. This passive aggression is just as weak as the chase. It is the reaction of a man who cannot handle the emotional weather and so decides to burn the whole house down. You are not being strong, you are being brittle. The fundamental error in all these reactions is that you make her internal struggle entirely about you. You see her pulling back from the fire of her own feelings, and you believe you are the one being judged by the flames. This self-centered perspective is the root of your powerlessness. You appoint yourself the main character in a story that is unfolding deep within her. You become the frantic problem solver for a puzzle she never asked you to fix. You are so busy reacting to the symptoms, her silence, her distance, her friction, that you fail to see the underlying cause, her overwhelming fear of the very connection you both share. As long as you believe her behavior is a referendum on your worth, you will remain a puppet, your strings pulled by every subtle shift in her emotional state. This cycle is a prison of your own making. You chase, she retreats further. You demand, she shuts down completely. You withdraw in anger, and you create a new artificial chasm between you. Each reaction, born from that initial lie that she's lost interest, only serves to prove her subconscious fears correct, that intimacy is a trap, that vulnerability leads to pain, and that men cannot handle the full force of her emotional reality. You are caught in a feedback loop of weakness, confirming her anxieties while deepening your own. You're trying to win a game where the only winning move is to stop playing. Tell me if you've seen this pattern before, this frantic dance of action and reaction. This is the path of the man who is controlled by her storm, instead of becoming the calm in the center of it. The truth is, her behavior is not a message for you to decode, but a map of her own internal war. You've been trying to read it as a reflection of your actions, but it is a reflection of her fear. The intensity of her withdrawal is directly proportional to the intensity of her feeling. That coldness you feel is not an absence of warmth. It is a shield she has erected to contain a fire that she fears will consume her. She is not fighting you. She is fighting the overwhelming wave of vulnerability that you make her feel. Her heart is telling her to move closer, while her fear, born from past wounds and instinctual self-preservation, is screaming at her to run. This conflict is the source of the storm, and you are standing right in the middle of it, mistaking the thunder for a personal attack. Every act of distance, every seemingly irrational mood swing is a subconscious test. She is not testing your love or your patience in the way you might think. She is testing your center. She is a force of nature, an ocean of beautiful and chaotic emotion, and she is subconsciously searching for a shoreline that will not crumble when her waves crash against it. When she pushes you away with silence or picks a fight over nothing, she isn't really saying go away. She is silently, desperately asking, are you strong enough to handle me? Are you a man who will stand firm, or are you just another boy who will be blown away by my storm? Her chaos is a question, and your stability is the only answer that matters. She is pushing on your frame to see if it holds. You must understand her deep, primal fear of emotional exposure. Her past is likely littered with experiences where vulnerability was met with weakness, abandonment, or pain. Your presence, your genuine connection, invites her to open that door again, and it terrifies her. So she slams it shut. That sudden cold shoulder is not about you. It's the sound of that door closing. She is retreating from the potential of being hurt in the same way again. For her, feeling this intensely for you feels like standing at the edge of a cliff. Part of her wants to fly, but the other part remembers the fall. Her instinct for self-preservation is so powerful that it will sabotage the very connection her heart desires most, just to keep her safe. This dynamic is rooted in the polarity of masculine and feminine energy. The feminine is fluid, wild, and seeks a container. It yearns for a structure, a presence, a calm certainty that can hold it and allow it to be fully expressed without fear of collapse. When she sends out these emotional probes, her silence, her dramatic shifts, her challenges she is feeling for the edges of your container, if you react with anxiety, anger, or neediness, you are showing her that your container is weak, that you are just as fluid and chaotic as she is. This tells her subconscious that you are not a safe harbor. She cannot surrender to a man who is tossed about by the same waves that she creates. The hot and cold behavior you experience is the most visible symptom of this internal battle. The warmth, the connection, the intimacy, that is her desire winning. Those are the moments she lets her guard down and allows herself to feel the pull toward you. But that vulnerability quickly triggers her fear. The fear then takes over, and she pulls back, becoming distant and cold to regain a sense of control and safety. This whiplash feels personal to you, but it's an entirely internal process for her. You are simply the catalyst. You are not the cause of the war, but you are the territory it is being fought over. Understanding this moves you from being a victim of her behavior to an observer of her struggle. Herein lies the great paradox of attraction. The very things she is most drawn to in you are the same things that activate her deepest fears. Your strength makes her feel safe, but it also challenges her to be vulnerable. Your presence makes her feel seen, but it also means she can no longer hide. She is drawn to the man who can break down her walls, but she is terrified of what will happen when they fall. So she will subconsciously try to prove that you can't. She will create tests to see if you will run, to see if you will break, to see if you are just like the others. She is trying to validate her fear, but secretly she is praying that you will invalidate it. Her silence, which you interpret as a weapon against you, is often a sanctuary for her. It is not an empty space, it is a crowded one. In that quiet, she is processing the intensity of what she feels. She is battling her own insecurities, replaying your conversations, and weighing the risk of her own heart. She is asking herself if this feeling is real, if you are real, and if she is ready to trust again. When you rush in with questions and demands for explanation, you are violating that sacred space. You are treating her internal process as an inconvenience to your need for certainty. You see an empty room that needs to be filled with your voice, but she is in a storm cellar waiting for the hurricane of her own feelings to pass. Ultimately, you must realize that her struggle is not a problem for you to solve. It is an opportunity for you to embody the man she is searching for. Her chaos is an invitation. It is a chance to demonstrate a strength that is not aggressive or controlling, but calm, deep, and unshakable. She is not asking you to fix her. She is asking you to hold your ground so she can feel safe enough to fix herself. Her tests are not a rejection of you, but a filter for her own heart. She is subconsciously weeding out the men who cannot provide the stability she craves. Her fight is not with you. Her fight is for you, and the only way to win is to become the calm she can finally surrender to. So the ideal reaction begins not with an action, but with a profound and silent shift in your perception. The moment you feel her pull away, the moment her energy changes, you must resist the urge to do anything at all. Instead of asking, "What did I do wrong?" you must learn to ask, "What is she feeling right now?" This simple change moves you from the center of the storm to the calm eye of it. You cease to be a participant in her drama and become an observer of her struggle. Her silence is no longer a personal indictment of your worth, but a signal of her internal weather. Your job is not to stop the rain. It is to be the unshakable shelter that is not afraid of getting wet. This is the first step toward true masculine presence. You stop seeing her behavior as something directed at you and start seeing it as something happening within her. This stillness is not passive. It is an active, powerful choice. You are trying to grasp water. The more you clench your fist to hold on to her, the more you try to force a connection that feels like it's slipping away, the faster she disappears through your fingers. The ideal response is an open palm. You do nothing, not a cold, resentful, nothing born of a bruised ego, but a warm, confident stillness that communicates you are not afraid of the space between you. This calm inaction tells her subconscious a powerful truth. Your emotional state is not dependent on her constant validation. You are whole without her immediate reassurance. This is the opposite of the needy chase she expects and fears. Your comfort in her silence is the ultimate demonstration of strength, proving that you are not another boy who will panic when the connection isn't loud and obvious. When she creates friction, when she initiates that small, illogical argument over something meaningless, the weak man is drawn into the fray. He defends his logic, argues his point, and meets her emotional chaos with his own reactive energy. He enters her storm. The grounded man holds his center. He recognizes the argument for what it is, a test. It's an emotional discharge, a subconscious push to see if your frame will break. You do not engage the content of the fight, you acknowledge the emotion behind it. A simple, calm, "I can see this is upsetting you," spoken without condescension, is enough. You remain the shoreline, allowing her wave of emotion to crash and recede without pulling you into the undertow. Her chaos needs a container, and your refusal to be rattled proves that your container is strong. From this place of understanding, a subtle sense of compassionate amusement can arise. This is not arrogance or mockery. It is the quiet, knowing smile of a man who sees the full picture. You see her testing you, pushing you away with her words, while her eyes betray a desire to pull you closer. And you understand the game. You are no longer a confused player, but an observer who appreciates the beautiful, wild nature of the feminine heart. This perspective insulates you from the sting of her action. Her withdrawal no longer feels like rejection because you know it is a product of her fear. You see the scared, vulnerable part of her that is orchestrating these tests, and your presence becomes a silent, powerful reassurance. You are communicating without words that you see all of her and you are not afraid. Your silence then transforms from a weapon of passive aggression into a tool of profound presence. The boy's silence is cold. It is a punishment meant to create anxiety. The man's silence is warm. It is a space of safety. It communicates everything you could ever want to say. It says, "I am here. I am not leaving. Your storm does not frighten me, and your silence does not threaten me. Take all the time you need. I will still be here when you are ready." This unshakable stillness is the only answer she will ever truly hear. You don't attract a woman by chasing her. You attract her by becoming still enough to be truly seen. Your calm presence in the face of her emotional turbulence is the living embodiment of the safety her soul is searching for. This all culminates in the final, most crucial internal shift. You must genuinely release the outcome. This is not a strategy, it is a state of being. You move from needing her to choose you to a place of complete acceptance of her freedom. Your value is not determined by her decision. When she feels on a primal level that you do not times need times her, she becomes free. And it is in that freedom that she will feel an undeniable pull to move toward you. The moment you stop needing her validation is the moment she starts needing your presence. You become the source of the very peace she is fighting to find within herself. Your calm is no longer just a reaction, it becomes her destination. This is the paradox of masculine power. True control is achieved only through absolute surrender. And so you arrive at the final turning point, the quiet revelation that changes the entire landscape. You came here seeking a map to her world, a set of keys to unlock the mystery of her behavior. But the truth you found is far more profound. The entire journey was never about her. It was always about you. Her storm was never a problem for you to solve. It was the pressure required to force your own evolution. Her chaos was the fire, and your reactions were the impure metal being tested. The chase, the anxiety, the need for answers, these were the things that had to be burned away. The real prize was never winning her affection through a series of correct moves. The prize was forging a centered, unshakable masculine core that her chaos could no longer disturb. You were so focused on understanding her that you missed the real invitation, the call to finally truly understand yourself. We began with a paradox that felt like a painful riddle. Her distance isn't a sign she feels nothing, it's a sign she feels too much. Before, this was a source of your confusion. Now, it is the source of your calm. You see her pull away, and you no longer feel the sting of rejection. Instead, you feel a quiet recognition. You understand that her silence is a testament to the power of your presence, a direct measure of the emotional gravity you create. It is no longer a weapon pointed at you, but a shield she holds up to protect herself from the beautiful, frightening intensity of what you both share. This understanding dissolves the anxiety. You no longer need to bridge the distance she creates, because you know the connection is not in the space between you, but in the unwavering strength within you. Her retreat is simply a confirmation that you are on the right path. This is where the game ends, because you finally see that the only way to win is to stop playing. Her tests, her friction, her push and pull, it all requires your participation to exist. The moment you stop reacting, the dance is over. You do not meet her chaos with more chaos. You do not meet her silence with resentful silence. You simply hold your ground. You become the mountain and she is the weather. The wind may blow and the rain may fall, but the mountain remains. She doesn't want your explanations. She wants your stability. She doesn't need you to solve her internal war. She needs to know that your peace is more powerful than her turmoil. When she feels this, when she pushes against you and finds not a wall of resistance but a profound stillness, her fight dissolves. She can finally rest. Look back now at the woman who confuses you and see her through these new eyes. See her withdrawal not as an insult, but as a compliment wrapped in fear. See her friction not as an attack, but as a desperate question about your strength. The entire dynamic changes when you shift from a man who needs her validation to a man who provides her with a sanctuary of calm. This is not a tactic. It is a fundamental transformation of your being. You stop trying to manage her emotions and instead master your own. This is the ultimate power. And from this place, her behavior is no longer a source of pain, but a simple, clear reflection of the man you have become. Now, take a moment. Comment what you now see in her that you couldn't before.